this winter with boys basketball, the mercy rule. John, could you explain how that works?
Well, Greg, the mercy rule will be applied in basketball as it was in football. If a team is ahead by 35 points at the 9-minute mark of the second half, then we'll have running time. And the clock will run except during timeouts. During free throws, during inbounds possessions, the clock just keeps rolling. And that's to prevent the score from getting further out of control.
Did you guys see the mercy rule in effect in the football season? Nick?
I once or twice, yeah. I guess
that was 35 points in the fourth quarter.
35 points in the fourth quarter. The clock will continue to run. There's some good and there's some bad. We were talking earlier. Some of the bad is those teams that are up big are oftentimes teams that use that chance, to play some third and fourth string kids and get them some varsity time and get them on the field and that whole flavor. And obviously, it's the other side of this, the coin is that for the team that's getting blown out, let's get out of here, let's get this done with. And for a sports writer, you can't beat getting out of there a half hour earlier, so it's not bad. I think basketball we'll see a lot of kind of the same sort of reactions. Those teams that are up quite a bit, come the fourth quarter, they're going to empty the bench anyways. So.
Well, Nick, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right about the sports writers. We like to get out of there early, and I think the other group you could probably include in there would be the bus drivers. They could have something left to their Friday night or in the winter Tuesday night.
Mike, did you think they even had to regulate such a rule?
Well, I can think of one team in particular that probably
Minnesota Transitions
probably could stand to be reined in.
Coached by John Sherman.
We'll get to that in a minute. As a sports writer, if it's a bad game, a blowout, I'd just as soon be out of there quickly. Where basketball is concerned, the thing that worries me a little bit is you get to quote unquote garbage time near the end of the game. The kids playing in that game are the end of the bench kids who don't ordinarily get a lot of playing time in varsity games. I mean, they have to go to practice. They have to spend their time in the weight room. They have to do all the same fundraising crap that the starters do. But this rule has the effect of limiting their playing time. I think there's a bit of a fairness issue there. I don't see this rule being implemented very much in the Lake Conference this year on either side, boys or girls, but it's tough on kids who are bench players. It's going to be probably another disincentive for kids like that to even come out for basketball. Now, on the plus side, we're looking at probably a couple of all-time records that are never going to be broken with the implementation of the mercy rule, because if the clock is running for the last 9 minutes of a game, it's going to be hard for a kid to score more than 90 points in a game. John would know something about that. And it'd be hard for a team to score 150 some points in a game. John would also know something about that.
Offense rules, right?
John, you didn't defend yourself. You didn't pour it on in those games.
Greg, it's all in your perspective. I mean, you try to play all your players in a game. The one thing that's a drawback with this mercy rule is you don't get some of your kids in there who've been playing a role in practice all year, working hard every day. Like Mike said, coming to practice, doing the fundraising. And, a coach has to be reasonable, obviously. But the mercy rule, let's try it out. Let's see how it works. It seemed to work pretty well in football, and let's see how it works in basketball.
Personally, I don't know if we needed the mercy rule. I think the coaches, if they use some common sense, they have a chance to, in football, to play a lot of players. Don't have to call a lot of pass plays and stuff, but run the plays. They can run out the clock pretty quick. You get a couple first downs, there's 2, 3, 4 minutes. I saw the mercy rule twice during Eden Prairie football games this year, and I think the happiest people besides the sports writers were the officials. They were well aware of the rule, And they said, yep, mercy rules in. Mercies rule in, because they knew they were going to be home quicker. But Mike Grant made the point that a lot of his third and fourth stringers didn't get the playing time that they would have had, because the game just, the last 9 minutes or so of that game, 8 minutes, boom, it was gone.
Let's add to your statement, mercy rules in, put the flags away. I mean, let's get out of here.
Or the whistles.
And they didn't. By the way, they weren't calling anything in that game.
We'll see how whistle happy the officials are in the last 9 minutes of a blowout.
What do you think about coaches that they have their players keep fouling and fouling in the last few minutes of a game, like your team in the state? A lot of people were complaining about your team in the state championship.
It was a strategic decision. You know, you're in a state championship game. You want to give your kids every chance to win, and you can't throw in the towel too early.
But the last 3 minutes,
He was extending Cody Schilling's basketball career.
you got plenty of TV time. We know that. But the last 3 minutes ended up 30. Last 3 minutes took 34 minutes to end.
Well, there were, to be fair, there were a couple TV timeouts in there.
Right. Apparently, I think Greg was the only one with a stopwatch on you too. So.
Well, thank you.
If your kids get to play on TV this year, you are going to wear sunglasses, right?
That's a distinct possibility if they turn the lights all the way up.
Did
for
you
the
really
ball
have
game.
one of your players wear those shades in the pregame warm-ups?
Not these particular shades.
What did they look like?
Well, it looked quite a bit like the ones that I wore on the first show.